I'm reading the second paragraph, and it says, "The way out of seeing what you see is to stop believing in it. When you stop believing in it, it must fade. Then you will see all that is beyond what you see, and you will know that is truth." Now, I made a post today on the NTI discussion group and the NTI study group where I talked about my experience of seeing beyond what we see. In A Course in Miracles, in the workbook, in Lesson 9, Jesus tells us that it is very difficult for the untrained mind to realize that what it sees, what it pictures, is not there. And this is true for us. This is true for us. It is very difficult for us to believe that this form that we see is not there. But I was fortunate enough to be given an experience once of being an apple. And many of you have heard this story, but not everyone, so I'm going to tell the story in full now. This was an evening when I was actually sitting on the bed next to my daughter. We were watching TV in my bedroom, and I was paying bills. So I was not in a state of meditation or anything like that. I was just paying bills, and my daughter was eating an apple. And all of a sudden, my awareness, and I'm going to have to call it that which I really am, my awareness shifted into the apple. And when my awareness shifted into the apple, I became the apple, which means I did not have a brain. I did not have thoughts. There was nothing human about me during this time. Now, what's interesting about being the apple is that since an apple does not have a brain, actually, an apple does not have an ego, even beyond the brain. It does not have the ego filter at all. An apple's completely different than we are. I don't know how to say this, I always do my best in words, but at this point I start to stammer. An apple, like if you were to come up to me and ask me, what am I right now, if I'm not being all spiritual about it, I might tell you that I am a woman. I might tell you that I am a mother. I might tell you that my name is Regina. But an apple does not have those definitions of itself or of anything else. Also, an apple does not see anything but what I will call God. And it's interesting that an apple does see, even though it doesn't have eyes. And in fact, as an apple, my way of seeing was 360 degrees all at once. I saw all around me, within me, and outside of me all at once. And so I guess this is what we would call spiritual sight. And all that I saw was light. And I was still at the level of form. And I say that because I experienced two types of light. I experienced one type of light that I would call space, and one type of light that I would call objects. But other than that, there were no differences, and they were both light. The only difference between space and objects is that space were clear, so like the space between me and Myron, for example, right now, that was a clear light. And then the space, the object of this body that seems to be Regina, and the object of this body that seems to be Myron, that would be what I would call compacted light. And by that I mean it was literally light with light inside of it. Little light particles that were alive and that were awareness themselves and that were moving around and somehow communicating and interacting. So the objects were this compacted light, light within light, and the space was just pure light. And what happened during the time that I was an apple is that my daughter took a bite out of me. And what was interesting is her teeth were no different than I was. Her teeth were just compacted light. I was just compacted light. And what happened when her teeth bit into me is it was not like being bit into at all. It was really an interaction of light with light. And in fact, it was a very loving and very joyous interaction. And after she took the bite out of me, my awareness shifted back into my body with my brain and my ego. And that's when I was given the understanding of everything that had just happened. But what I saw during that time that I was an apple is I saw that the world we see is not here. It's just light. And this is what Jesus is telling us in Workbook Lesson 9, when he says it is difficult for an untrained mind to realize that what it pictures is not there. And now let's go back and look at what Holy Spirit is telling us in this particular message. Again, the way out of seeing what you see is to stop believing in it. When you stop believing in it, it must fade. Then you will see all that is beyond what you see, and you will know that is truth. That is the sight that serves as the bridge to heaven, for it brings heaven within reach, even within the dream. And there, from that place of mind, you will give your willingness to awaken. And of